I want to ask about two specific aspects of the hybrid warfare we see the Russians and the Chinese engaged in, and describe what they're doing in Europe so perhaps we can learn something about them today. And I'd like all three of you to answer this. The first is efforts made in disinformation using online tools, social media, TikTok, X, those sorts of forms, because I believe that we see this a lot in the United States. So what insight can you give us into what they are doing over there on what issues in order to destabilize the European continent? We'll start with Mr. Singleton, and I'm interested in all three of your perspectives.
Sure, thank you, sir. TikTok is a key platform for the Chinese Communist Party to influence views in the United States. Chinese Communist Party technicians control what Americans see and what they don't see. It's a primary tool. Today is the last day of the TikTok divestiture executive order, and we still have not heard whether a deal has been completed. And the reason is because Beijing gets the final vote. And ultimately, I think it's incumbent upon Congress to ask the right questions about what was agreed to in that deal and whether it's a true divestiture as consistent and mandated by the law.
And before we go on, and you believe the Chinese, for example, use TikTok in order to foment discord, disinformation, create division on issues, frankly, that the Chinese may not even care about. It's just that they use those issues. Like, I don't think they really care about Israel and China, but I think they use that just to create division. Is that your sense?
I would agree, and Laura Cooper mentioned it well. The amount of anti-Semitism that is prevalent on the platform is entirely inconsistent with what you see on other social media platforms, and that's by design. This week in the Washington Post, Matt Pottinger and I wrote a TikTok op-ed highlighting the use of disinformation in TikTok as a tool, and I think it sort of shows both the promotion of self-harm against our children, but also anti-Semitic trends that are broadly consistent with China's divide and conquer strategy.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Over a decade and a half, Russia and China alike have used the asymmetry of open information systems, not only in the United States, but around the world, both to manipulate the information environment, but to project what I would describe as their preferred strategic narratives into the discussion about the ostensible benefits of their systems as compared with the ostensible unreliability and fecklessness of ours. And they haven't stopped. And so I think if you look at the channels that they have access to, they continue to use them wherever we permit them to.
Ms. Cooper?
Congressman, I'll just give you an example of how this played out. When Russia sought to use information operations to turn a narrative that should have been a Russian defeat into something that they could count as a victory. When there was sabotage, Russian-sponsored sabotage of Polish railways, Russia actually employed Ukrainians to do the operation. They then had an information campaign in Poland to try to whip up anti-Ukrainian sentiment. Incredible when you think that this operation was a Russian operation to begin with.
Do you all, and I'll start with Ms. Cooper and go down there, do you all have any policy ideas that we could employ? Obviously, forcing China to sell TikTok is an obvious one. But other than that, strategies, bills, ideas that we could pass that might affect these state actors' ability to manipulate our systems, which are built on freedom. They're trying to use them to take freedom away. Do you have any ideas on things that we could do in that regard? Hopefully you do.
This is a phenomenally vexing question precisely because we don't want to harm our own freedoms and free speech. I suspect ultimately we'll need to compete more assiduously in the information domain as a conceptual matter, as a way to compete against Russia and China. This is the way they see it. China, for its part, invests billions of dollars annually in their global information outward-facing efforts. Russia is widely understood to invest hundreds of millions of dollars at a minimum globally. We don't do that.
Well, thank you. Look, I'm about to run out of time, but I would say the risk that we have is these nations use our freedoms, manipulate our freedoms to then try to take them away. And so I think that dealing with this, we see what's happened in Europe with the division over there. It's certainly come here, and I appreciate all of you focus on this hybrid warfare because I think we're experiencing it in our own country right now.